Regine Rucker is standing right there. She's from Columbia. She's a program manager at the South Carolina Commission on Higher Education. Great, Regine, what's your question?
Hi. The visibility of police brutality has increased because of video from dash cams and cell phones. And marijuana is now a legal and profitable business. These issues have disproportionately impacted people of color. What are your thoughts on the disparate treatment in police encounters for people of color and commuting the sentences of those currently in prison for marijuana-related offenses without retribution?
Wow. I can't tell you how grateful I am for this question, because in this climate where many states are moving to legalize marijuana, I have a lot of frustrations as a person who understands exactly what you're saying. We fundamentally have different laws in this country that are treating people differently. Now look, there are still marijuana arrests. In 2017, there were more marijuana arrests in this country than all violent crime arrests combined. And marijuana enforcement is disproportionately impacting Black and brown communities. You don't see stop and frisks often on college campuses like Stanford, where I went, but you see them targeting communities for these types of arrests. And let me give you an example. There is no difference in America between using and even selling marijuana between blacks and whites. But if you're African American in this country, you're almost 4 times more likely to be arrested for that. And by the way, when you get arrested for marijuana in this country, it is like getting a lifetime sentence. Imagine this. You now have a conviction for doing things that 2 of the last 3 presidents admitted to doing. And you leave now and you can't get a business license. You can't get jobs. You can't get a loan from a bank. It's like a lifetime sentence, compressing your economic well-being. That's why when I heard all of this about marijuana legalization, I fast put a bill into the Senate called the Marijuana Justice Act, which is about decriminalizing marijuana on the federal level, letting the states do what they want. But very importantly, and I'm hoping all of us, when we talk about marijuana legalization or decriminalization, in the same breath, we've got to talk about expunging the records of everyone who is still suffering. And so, I talk about issues of bringing this country together, but it's not for a kumbaya moment. It's about bringing this country together to pursue the ideals of our nation, which is justice. Right now, we have a lot of injustice in our criminal justice system, being borne by the poor, disproportionately by minorities. If I am your president, I'm going to fight to have sane drug laws and make sure that we expunge the records of those people who are going through convictions and the aftermath from things like marijuana.
So I have to ask you, so let's follow up on Regine's question. What about in considering where you lived? I mean, you lived in housing and drugs were sold there. Would you consider mass pardons or commutations for federal marijuana offenses?
You know, absolutely. Look, in America, one of my friends, Brian Stevenson, says that we have a criminal justice system that treats you better if you're rich and guilty than if you're poor and innocent. We have a criminal justice system and this war on drugs that has resulted, by the way, in an increase since 1980 alone of 500% in our prison population. 500%. While other countries were restoring their infrastructure, building mass transit, the one infrastructure we were building out is a new prison or jail every 10 days between the time I was in law school and the time I was mayor of the city of Newark. And this, again, is impacting communities of color, because the war on drugs has been a war on people. And so as president of the United States, your job is to pursue justice. And what we see right now is so many folks suffering. Now, I passed a comprehensive criminal justice reform bill with other senators on both sides of the aisle, the first time since those horrible crime bills in the back in the 1990s, passed this legislation working across the aisle to move forward. And you know who I brought to the State of the Union was a guy who had a life sentence for being in possession of an amount of crack cocaine weighing less than a baseball. This is tragic, unjust, and violates our values. And one of my focuses as President of the United States will be to balancing the scales of justice and having a criminal justice system that reflects our highest ideals.